up before I point. What do you got to do to separate yourself?
I'm talking to that person that's tired of where they are, and you are bold enough, you are crazy enough, you are courageous enough to shut it down for 30 days. I know it's cold, but are you courageous enough to step into uncharted territory, beating on your craft day and night? I need you to disappear for the next 30 days. I got 3 words for you. Shut it down. Log out of the social media. Get off the internet. Unplug and evaluate where you are and where you're supposed to be.
I don't want to do any of this.
Well, when you leaving this campus, it's simple. We done gave you the information. You just got to believe it to be so for yourself. And that's what the choice is. So you get to freely accept this information, or you get to freely go on about your business. If you can keep on, if you keep doing what you've been doing, you're gonna keep getting what you've been getting. I know that for sure. So if you want to do something different, then you got to do something different, you know? If you keep doing the same thing, you're gonna get the same results.
Some of y'all don't want it. That's why you ain't got it. Excuses sound best to the person that's making them up.
When I was young, my mother, she didn't have the money to send me where all the American kids went to school, but she thought it was important for me to keep up with an American education. So she decided to teach me extra lessons herself, Monday through Friday, at 4:30 in the morning. Now, as you might imagine, I wasn't too happy about getting up that early. A lot of times I'd fall asleep right there at the kitchen table.
The average millionaire wakes up at 4 a.m.
I'm pretty sure I wake up earlier than all of you.
Why is it so important to get up early? Some of y'all have no idea what 4 a.m. looks like.
So it started off 4 o'clock in the morning where I'd start with my cardio, then I'd have breakfast, and then I would go to the gym, and then I'd go to work.
Work harder on yourself than you do on your job. Start this process of personal change, personal development.
If you can get up before the rest of the world is awake, right? Before the enemy's awake, you can get so much done. You're so much more productive.
Develop the skills, learn the lessons, take the classes, absorb all that is being taught to you these days.
Where focus goes, energy flows. The problem is you put too much energy into Netflix. You put too much energy into distractions. You put too much energy into entertainment. You put too much energy into things that are not feeding your purpose and destiny. Can you walk away from everything?
Get better. There isn't any of us that can't get better. So turn on this whole idea of personal development and personal growth.
You got one life to live. Rain, sleet, or snow. The time is now.
This decision is yours and yours alone. It's 2 people born in a hospital every day. It's a person that's born in a hospital that's gonna get a job, and somebody born in a hospital that's gonna give them a job. You get to decide which one you gonna be.
I know it's not always easy to do well. I know a lot of you have challenges in your lives right now. I get it. I know what it's like. My father left my family when I was 2 years old. I was raised by a single mom who had to work and who struggled at times to pay the bills and wasn't always able to give us the things that other kids had. There were times when I missed having a father in my life. There were times when I was lonely and I felt like I didn't fit in.
I think my mother knew that freedom wouldn't come in her lifetime, just like I know that it won't come in mine. But it's a matter of either we stay like this or somebody sacrifices, somebody lay a track so we don't stay in a 360-degree deadly circle.
Some of you might not have those advantages. Maybe you don't have adults in your life who give you the support that you need. Maybe someone in your family has lost their job and there's not enough money to go around. Maybe you live in a neighborhood where you don't feel safe or have friends who are pressuring you to do things you know aren't right. But at the end of the day, the circumstances of your life what you look like, where you come from, how much money you have, what you've got going on at home. There is no excuse for not trying. Where you are right now doesn't have to determine where you'll end up. No one's written your destiny for you. Because here in America, you write your own destiny. You make your own future.
We won't always be slaves. So today, although we're slaves, we're going to act like we're free, and one day our children will be free. If the slaves would have just said, we quit, we give up, we would have died in the Middle Passage.
You got a problem with your life. You got a problem with your environment. Do something about it. Stop feeling sorry for yourself.
Take responsibility to make your life happen.
So if you want to make 6 figures, you can't just be talking about you want to make 6 figures. You hear what I'm saying to you tonight? If you do the 3 things I tell you to do tonight, I guarantee you, whatever it is you want to do in life, you'll be able to do.
Number 1, find out how things work. To change your life, really, you need ideas. There isn't anything an idea can't change. The problem is lack of an idea on how to create money and wealth. So if you get the ideas, so you can change anything. Now, to get ideas, you need a constant study of finding out. And when you find out something that works, put it in your journal so that you can do the next best thing. Repetition, repetition, repetition. Go over it.
In order for us to change, we have to become conscious of how we think.
So what do you think the highest paid and most valuable work is that you do? And the answer is thinking. Thinking is the most valuable work.
One of the major things Shoaff taught me when I met him, he said, poor thinking habits keeps most people poor. Not poor working habits. Most people work hard, but they don't think hard.
We have to become really aware of how we behave, what our habits are, even how we speak.
And Shoaff taught me that the mind is like a factory, a mental factory. And whatever you think about all day long pours ingredients into this mental factory. And that's what builds the economic, social, financial fabric of your life. One of them said to me, Mr. Rohn, how do you build the good life? Here's how you build anything.
You need these 3 things. Are you ready? You need skill set, mindset, and opportunity. You need to rise up and understand what success is all about. Skill set, work on your skill. Mindset, work on your mentality, baby, and your opportunity will come.
If you're committed, you'll start today to let go of your stories, your excuses, your reasons why you can't and why you won't. You'll upgrade your knowledge. You'll upgrade your skills. You'll come in every single day and figure out how you can achieve those goals.
I know that sometimes you get that sense from TV that you can be rich and successful without any hard work. That your ticket to success is through rapping or basketball or being a reality TV star. Chances are you're not going to be any of those things. The truth is, being successful is hard. You won't love every subject that you study. You won't click with every teacher that you have. Not every homework assignment will seem completely relevant to your life right at this minute.
If you do what other successful people do over and over again, nothing can stop you from eventually enjoying the same rewards that they do. But if you don't do what successful people do, nothing can help you. Success is not an accident.
Life was designed not to give us what we want, not to give us what we need, but life was designed to give us what we deserve.
These people succeeded because they understood that you can't let your failures define you. You have to let your failures teach you. You have to let them show you what to do differently the next time.
I want to talk about the fear of starting, okay?
And you won't necessarily succeed at everything the first time you try. That's okay. Some of the most successful people in the world are the ones who've had the most failures.
I think everybody has fear all wrong.
What are your fears? What are you afraid of? What are you scared of? Because we all have fears, don't we?
People have so many theories about fear. They talk about, oh, well, I'm afraid of success. No, I'm afraid of failure. I'm afraid of intimacy. I'm afraid of heights. I'm afraid of this. I'm afraid of that. I'm afraid of the other thing.
So Today I want to address, how do you biohack the fear?
There's actually only two fears. Only two.
We're always afraid. You know, I'm afraid to be great. I'm afraid to try something new. I'm afraid to leave a situation. I'm afraid to live my purpose. I'm afraid to, share my dream. I'm afraid, right? Fear stops a lot of our lives.
Life is about persuading people. Life is about influencing people. And fear is the invisible force that will make you ineffective at that. It will stop you.
If you know what you want, don't you dare let fear rob you of going for it. What's the worst that's going to happen? That you're going to go for your dream and it's not going to be as great as you thought? That you're going to go for your dream and it's not going to work out, and so you're going to have to come back to this job?
A lot of people are scared, right? They don't act because they're scared. But I would ask yourself another question, because usually people is like, oh, I'm scared if I do this, this is what's going to happen. But then reframe that question, and you're still using the power of questions. Ask yourself, what will happen if you don't do this?
I love fear. The reason why, behind every fear is a person you want to be.
The fear of failure was a big one in the beginning. Because what happened to me was, I was 27 years old and I was like miserable. And I just kept trying to figure out what my life was for. Because I discovered something, that the two most important days of your life are the day you're born and the day you discover why.
Here's what real fear should be. Living a life where you spend most of your days in the comfort zone, playing it safe and not challenging yourself to level up. Fear is normal, and we all have it.
Fear is the willingness to hold concern, question, and doubt in one hand. But courage is the willingness to hold passion in the other.
You acknowledge your fears, you embrace those fears, and then you move on. You act on whatever it is that you fear. Because once you embrace it, see, what you resist will persist. What you resist will persist. So one of the most important things is to begin to embrace your fear.
There's a great quote in the world of personal development. What you accept, you will befriend. What you befriend, you will transcend. So instead of you running away from fear, instead of you believing fear is bad, I want you to try this. Try accepting it today.
You've lived a life dominated by doubt and fear. How do you step into bravery?
You must step right into fear. You must sum up all the courage inside you and do the thing you fear most.
As we begin to look at life, what we realize is that the reason that most people are not living out their true potential, are not doing all of the things that they would really like to do, is because of fear. Some people call fear false evidence or expectations appearing real.
The fear is simply because you're not living with life, you're living in your mind. Your fear is always about what's going to happen next. That means your fear is always about that which does not exist.
Successful people, they feel the same fear that you feel. They feel the doubts. They feel the inner resistance. They just do not let it stop them. Are you getting this? So they keep moving forwards.
Knowing what you want, you are ahead of the game. That's half the battle, is just knowing what you want in your heart. So if you're already there, you know you want to travel, you want to be a doctor, you want to be a singer-songwriter, you want to paint for a living. If you've got that, the only thing you need to do is go. Don't you dare let fear stop you one more day. You're wasting your life if you're not going for the thing that you know in your heart you need to do.
I've walked the majority of my life with some form of fear inside of me. I've done the majority of the things I've done with some form of fear inside of me. See, when my son was 8 months old and I couldn't afford to put Pampers on him because I didn't have any money to buy Pampers, so I wrapped him in a towel for 2 days. I looked down at my son, riddled with fear, and I made a promise. Because before I would hold on to the fear, I was holding on to the passion. I said, Jelani, don't worry. Mommy will never be this broke again.
Fear is kind of like fuel. Because the mind and body is connected. It takes this cue from the other. So you have to tell yourself, anytime you feel fear, that's my fuel. That is my body giving me fuel to keep moving forwards.
I stopped by for you to no longer make fear your enemy, but make fear your fuel. Because fear is an emotion like any other emotion. Fear is an emotion like love, like compassion. Fear is an emotion, we just gave it more power. We just gave it more power. Compassion, oh, that's nice. Fear, ooh.
If your fear is about the non-existent, your fear is 100% imaginary. If you're suffering the non-existential, we call that insanity. So, people may be in just socially accepted levels of insanity, but if you're afraid or if you're suffering anything which does not exist, it amounts to insanity, isn't it? People are always suffering, either what happened yesterday or what may happen tomorrow.
We gave it a meaning. And some of you know you've heard this before, that fear is false evidence appearing real. I came for that. I came for you to confront it, for you to get a little angry at it, for you to get a little pissed off at it. Say, wait a minute. I've been letting you drive me all this time, and you are a story that I made up about the future that doesn't even really exist.
Fear has a way of using the past to regulate your future. Fear.
The type of fear that causes you to question the goodness of God, the character of God, and His word to you. The type of fear that cripples you from living the life that God has called you to. It is fueled by uncertainty.
It is fear that makes people not to start again after a bad experience. It's fear that has kept a brother from proposing to another sister because the last one you proposed to said to you no. It's fear that is making a sister not to say yes because the last relationship didn't end well.
Fear can actually be described as an emotion we feel when faced with the threat of harm or danger.
How many of you in the last 6 months has had an idea that you did not act on that you wish you would have?
When you say I'm afraid of failure, you just made up a story about the future that doesn't even really exist. Are you guys getting that? You guys got to understand. When you said I might get hurt in the next relationship, you made up a story about the future that doesn't even exist yet. Does that make sense? And you're powerful. And any story you make up is true to you, but it's only true to you. And then you live out that story because you want to be right. Yes, yes?
I am afraid. Afraid of lots of things, actually. Wasps, spiders, the unknown secrets of the sea.
You can have fears. Don't surrender. Don't let your fears have you. I know that you've got greatness within you. I know that you have unlimited potential in you.
Tell you something. Some of your fears come out of something someone said about you. Some of your best motivation came wrapped in sandpaper.
I'm motivated by fear.
Fear.
You know?
Fear of what?
Fear of fear. I hate being scared to do something.
Some of your best motivation didn't come wrapped in love and came with warm cookies and milk. It came wrapped in sandpaper. It came wrapped in thorns. It came wrapped in that divorce. It came wrapped in the loss of a loved one. It came wrapped in something that didn't work. Some of your best motivation that you needed, some of the best lessons that you need to learn came wrapped in sandpaper.
So if fear is a big motivator for you, utilize that instead of being at the effect of it, and be fearful of what will happen if you don't do what is most important.
Your job is to take the information, to take the lesson, and to take the opportunity and use it to fuel you, not make you afraid. Yes, yes?
Many times in my daily life, fear stops me from doing small things and bigger things. Fear from failure, fear from maybe from rejection sometimes.
I've overcome so many failures. I've failed more times than I've succeeded. That's, I tell you the truth, man. It's like Michael Jordan. Michael Jordan took 949 game-winning shots. He only made 123. He's the greatest basketball player to ever live.
Michael Jordan was cut from his high school basketball team. He lost hundreds of games and missed thousands of shots during his career. But he once said, I have failed over and over and over again in my life, and that's why I succeed. J.K. Rowling, who wrote Harry Potter, her first Harry Potter book was rejected 12 times before it was finally published.
The fear of failure is the greatest single obstacle to success in adult life. And it's not failure itself, because each one of you is a professional failure.
Failure is a part of the process. People who never fail, never try. You have to fail. You got to get it wrong to get it right.
Each one of you has failed over and over and over again. Isn't that true? All of us fail. All human beings fail over and over. 9 out of 10 things that we try don't work out the way we expected. We have failures in relationships and in jobs and in careers and investments and everything. It's not the failure that holds you back.
So if you get into trouble, that doesn't mean you're a troublemaker. It means you need to try harder to act right. If you get a bad grade, that doesn't mean you're stupid. It just means you need to spend more time studying. No one's born being good at all things. You become good at things through hard work.
I look at my life, and for 18 years, I wouldn't touch a microphone. I wouldn't do anything near speaking. As much as I love speaking, I was afraid, say afraid, I was afraid of being judged.
Mind is one part of it is memory, another part of is imagination. Both of them are in one way imagination, because both of them don't exist right now. You're lost in your imagination, that's the basis of your fear.
Failure is a part of the process. You have to fail to win. You have to lose your fear of failure.
The failure makes you smarter. We say that it is the fear of failure, not failure, that holds you back.
And I think what developed in my early days was the attitude that I started attacking things that I was scared of.
You're not a varsity athlete the first time you play a new sport. You don't hit every note the first time you sing a song. You've got to practice. Don't be afraid to ask questions. Don't be afraid to ask for help when you need it. I do that every day. Asking for help isn't a sign of weakness, it's a sign of strength. Because it shows you have the courage to admit when you don't know something, and that then allows you to learn something new.
Here's what I want you to repeat after me, please, with power and conviction. Say, it's possible. The first step before anybody else in the world believes it is you have to believe it.
And even when you're struggling, even when you're discouraged, you feel like other people have given up on you, don't ever give up on yourself.